Hey everybody, welcome to our final conversation on Isaiah. Week 10, finally finishing it up. How do you feel about Isaiah after 10 weeks?
It's good. I feel the thing that I feel is that we more than normal. That you could probably do a 10-week series on Isaiah about 4 times back to back. Keep going through it and not touch the same stuff, same concepts, or same.
There's a lot of stuff in there.
There's a lot of stuff in there. In fact, I did a little I pulled our notes here. It was even just I was just thinking for me and I feel like there are a lot of verses that people quote from Isaiah, not just even people, like New Testament quotings of Isaiah, and we didn't even touch some of them. The most common, 2001 Christian T-shirt that you bought at Mardell's Isaiah verse.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot to be touched on. The concept of another part of my, that's not uncomfortable, but just unresolved, is that part of prophetic writing is kind of by definition, it's this faith declaration of what isn't. And we have this window of, it's pointing towards the coming Messiah and towards hope and peace, but that just is a complex context to wrap your head around. I don't ever write in this type of a format. There's all types of different writing styles, and I rarely have the mental capacity to write in any different type of writing style, yet alone to write in this is different.
Yeah. Do you think that is just preference, or do you think what was happening in Isaiah for him to do this? What has to happen in a person to? It's pretty vulnerable to say this is what I think is going to happen.
Yeah,
and then
and I mean to be fair, is that if Isaiah was on our current context, or if I was in Isaiah's context, would I be the only one that would be going, okay?
Yeah.
Some people are weird, and you're one of them.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if I would have trusted the thing he said.
Yeah, there is safety and risk in saying, hey, you know what? In the generations to come, this will happen. Because the safety is that who's going to grade you? And then there's the weird factor is that, people just roll their eyes at those types of declarations or realities. And I think it's good perspective to have when today we're ending by talking about in Isaiah chapter 61 at the end, there's these declarations that God puts on us, clothes us with salvation and righteousness. And so I just think, listen to those words. God gives you salvation and God gives you righteousness. Think about the eye roll at Isaiah. There's a cultural eye roll of okay, thanks for getting me dressed with salvation. I didn't even know I needed to be saved. Which is I think that can be a cultural response, is that all you want to do is save me, and I don't even need to be saved from something, can be this declaration. And righteousness, you are wanting me to be righteous, and have you looked at yourself? And those types of responses can lead you to go, yeah, you're right, I am the crazy one. I'll leave you alone now. And that's not the goal.
Yeah. We're starting every week in Isaiah, pretty much, I think. We've started with doing an activity, kind of help set the stage, get our minds wrapped around where we're headed. I really find them helpful. I think a lot of people do. It's also nice to break up a message with something that people get to participate in. And so we're doing this idea of rescue from, there's a list of 10 things that we'll have people rate what they would most and least likely need to be rescued from, or how good or bad it would be. I think the ones that stick out to me are giving a speech and forgetting everything. Literally every time I step in front of a group of people, I forget everything for a half a second. Sometimes it comes back. Or that awkward family gathering. I think those two.
Interesting. So these 10 things, there's intentionally in intentionality and that they're all like nobody wants to hang out in any of them. But I think to give things a scale of stuck in an elevator, lost in a foreign country. You said the family gathering one, a job interview that's going terribly, first date disaster, trapped in traffic and having to go to the bathroom, giving a speech, forgetting everything. You mentioned that one, sending a message to send all or to the wrong person. It's fun. Locked out of your house in your pajamas and realizing you hit reply all to an email. And so in these things, I don't think anybody is going, ooh, my favorite.
Sure.
But worst of worst is a real thing. And like I, in a weird way, I don't mind being stuck in an elevator, especially if I'm not alone. That's my favorite because I get to look into the eyes of terror. I would choose to be stuck in an elevator with somebody that is extremely claustrophobic.
Yeah.
It's kind of like being put into a trap with a raccoon. It's like, let's see what happens. And I think that lost in a foreign country, I try to get lost in a foreign country. That's what I'm aiming to get lost in a foreign country.
Yeah, you're the only one that has something on the list that they want to happen.
But I do have, like, giving a speech and forgetting everything. I don't know about the forgetting everything, but I don't like being unprepared or feeling unprepared. And I like to even prepare prepare a mistake. Like it's just as I don't even know. It's just as I don't like to be unprepared, and that get me out of that. But
Gorman, do you have one of those that sticks out as being like the most for you?
Well, I think giving a speech and forgetting everything is that's every performer's nightmare.
Did you just say that you had a little bit of a line mix up last night at the show?
A few bottles.
Do you? So, like, what do you feel later about those things? Are you a person that goes, it happens, or are you a person that goes, turmoil?
Used to be one of those that just I get hyper focused on it afterwards. But after years of therapy, on Saturday night, I bobbled a line, and bobbled a song lyric, and something that I was able to go, yeah, that happened, and I'm okay.
Yeah.
And it's not lying about the therapy. I was talking with my therapist about it. I said, this happened. And he was like, yeah, well, that's good. That's progress because once it's out there, once it's happened, there's nothing you can do about it. And all the obsessing in the world doesn't change it.
Yeah. Which is so fun. Like that. So we rate these, and I think it'll be fun to see people's differences in, like, it's not, you do talk about your pain scale in all of these, and then to get to this point of like, what actually could happen to be rescued from these moments, and to realize being rescued from a lot of these moments is maybe impossible, or being removed, or a magic trick. Because there isn't like, you're on an awkward date that isn't going well. I mean, somebody could pull a fire alarm. That could be the rescue, or the building is actually on fire. And so, like, holding that, and then to bring into the concept, we're going to do another one of these where you give people a score of how general people that you would like to impress. Which impressing is a weird thing.
Do people want to impress people? Is that like a motivation?
Yes.
I hate feeling like I have to or should impress people.
Yeah, I think so. I think that some of it is semantic. I think that impress is one word. Maybe this is something we should bring into this. Some of it is not want to disappoint. Some of it is be on the good side. It's kind of some of the different words, even different directions would have the same.
Yeah, I don't, and it like you said, it could be semantic. I don't feel like I ever want to impress anybody, but I also, at the same time, I would say there's people that I would want them to be proud of me. So I don't know if that's the same thing.
Yeah, it is. Or be in right relationship.
It feels different to me, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think
impress feels artificial for some reason.
Yeah,
like I'm trying to like put on a show, versus proud of is like they actually know who I am. At least that's what my brain says. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. Is Like my dad, we posted Corner Coffee's 18-year celebration. 18 years of Corner Coffee being in business was April 1st. I shared the post on social media, and my dad just replied saying that he was proud of Kelsey and I. And I was like, that's really, like I wasn't trying to, I'm not trying to impress my dad.
You didn't tag him in it?
Yeah, I don't know. It felt, it feels slightly different. I haven't fully explored that.
Yeah, well, I think that each of us have to process, where we are in our temperament and personality and what that is when you think about somebody who's a boss or
I feel like starting a new job and that pressure to try to impress your boss is like the grossest thing ever.
Yeah.
I hate that. Or like a new relationship, like you're trying to like impress. I don't like any of that.
And how do you bring the world together when you don't like it? But it has to some degree, in health or dishealth, it's happening or should happen.
When you try to impress someone, then that's the new standard. If you've gone out of your way and said, this is me, this is who I am. Now you've got, if you've gone, kind of done something which is not you, now all of a sudden you've created this artificial you that you have to maintain.
I think that's one of my biggest things. I think everybody has like a rebellious side. My rebellious side comes out when I have a moment where like I feel like I'm supposed to be this for some reason. Don't, for good and bad. I think sometimes I push back against it in a healthy way. Sometimes, usually it's my gut response that's unhealthy. But I think sometimes I just don't like I just don't like being put in a box, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I don't like labels. I don't like personality tests for a lot of times because I feel like they put you in a box that doesn't necessarily always mean it's helpful. So I feel like that impressed thing kind of fits within that for me. It's like, oh, I'm supposed to be this? What if I'm not?
Yeah. And so maybe it is better to have give yourself your desire to be in right relationship with. So with a boss, manager, teacher, romantic interest, even a spouse, parents, family, friends or peers, mentors, influential figures. And I think that while it might be hard to quantify, part of the reason to give these a score of 1 to 10 is that if you were just asked the question, what do you feel when you are missing it with somebody? Bad. But to think about, well, what fuels your desire to not have it be bad that's like such an important thing. Because you might say the thing that fuels me to not have it be bad is insecurity, or you might say it's because I want to be impressive, or I want them to be proud of who I am and what I do. And so that maybe is going to fuel some of that conversation. But there's also something that is really fun in relationship, which we probably all have moments of remembering or having when there's nothing you could do to fix a relationship with somebody. It's just like it's because of internal, personal, external, them or you, whatever. But what happens internally, externally when you fall short in being in a right relationship with somebody?
I think most people just blame it on the other. I think that's like the default response. Well, it wasn't my fault. Usually there's two parts to play.
Yeah.
Not usually, always.
Yeah. Yeah. So all of this work is to come back to, again, Isaiah 61, where he talks about salvation and righteousness, is that the Messiah that Isaiah points towards, Jesus being the Messiah, he is to rescue us from wrong or broken relationship with God. It's like when you are in a job interview and it's going terribly and you want to be rescued, you just go, I have no idea how somebody could rescue me. I have no idea I don't know what anybody could do. And then to think about, so I'm in my relationship with God, I don't even know what's going on. It's not, I'm missing it somehow. I guess I'm not good enough, or I don't, like all these things that can be felt. And you go, be rescued from that. So you want to be rescued. I can just imagine like the third party looking in saying, I get it. You just want to be rescued from your broken relationship with God. How's that going? What do you want somebody to do? And that's like foundational to the whole gospel, is that God rescues us from a broken relationship with God. And there's something happening in me when I just go, well, what is it to be rescued from a broken relationship? And I don't. I try to open my mouth and I don't know how to, what is actually happening.
What does it mean to be? I think yeah, I don't know. Unfortunately, I think the connotation of rescue means that it can feel like God, like it's something that we're just going to be plucked out of. Like it's just, okay, it's over. God did the work, which is mostly true. But then also, like,
Yeah.
the one being rescued has responsibility. Like, I don't know, it's a stupid picture, but like I imagine somebody's like trapped on the side of like a mountain, they can't get off, and the guy rappels down from the helicopter to like get them, and they just like refuse to grab their arm or something.
Yeah.
So that was like the little movement to help is still a statement of faith that there's trust in that, and I don't think God is so gracious that he won't just rip us out.
Well, I've been thinking about this and I thought, so you want to rescue me from broken relationship and it's me. And I would look back and say, what? Are you going to change who I am? And the rescuer goes, yeah. And then the responsibility though, and I think this is walking towards the theology of this, is that then, so you're going to change who I am. So then should I go back to being exactly who I was? And so that's the parables to end with that we're going to be talking in this, that Jesus in Matthew chapter 20 shares the parable of the workers in the vineyard. And so it's this story of compensation. People show up early in the morning to work in the vineyard, and they're going to be paid an agreed amount at the end. Still needs more help. And so the owner of the vineyard brings more people all throughout the day to the end, where some people are hired to do this the last 20 minutes of work. And then it's time to hand out the checks. And the people that were in early thought, man, the people that just showed up just got paid what we were expecting to get paid. That means when it comes to us, man, we're really going to get paid. And they all got the same payment. And so this story is to lean, give struggle to those that, again, see salvation or see right relationship with God as being like scaled. It's if you're a religious authority, it's for me, and for those people, they should get less. It truly is this. It's this right relationship with God is a universal gift, whether you deserve it or not. Like that's this story of this picture. It's like, did they deserve to get the $100 for their work for the last 10 minutes? No. Well, right relationship with God is not deserved. It's not about deserved. It's given. But then a couple chapters later, in Matthew chapter 25, Jesus shares another parable about the bags of gold, and the different people are given different amounts of investment when the master goes away. And the one who was given a whole bunch doubled it, was given the medium amount, doubled it, and the one who was given the least just buried it and was afraid to do anything with it. And so this picture again, so you've been given what outside of your deserving or not deserving, the first parable, and but what you've been given, you got to put it to work. And that, I feel like that's the smashing of this together. It's so easy. Like the breakdowns for me, I go struggling. We say weird things. I feel like I'm really distant from God right now. I don't know if I can be distant from God. Now, that doesn't mean that I can be broken in my relationship. So what's the solution? Well, I got to get my stuff together. Like, actually, you might not be that good. Well, then how are you going to rescue me from this? It's like, well, I'm going to make you a new person. Okay, do it. Okay, done. Now what? I'm going to go back to what I was. No, put what you've been given, put it to work. And that's so this Isaiah 61, end of 61, to say, I am clothing you with salvation and making you righteous, and putting that into reality.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times that I think in church or in ministry or as a pastor or whatever, you can think of that going back to the old way as like rejection, and I actually don't. I mean, it can be that, but I think like the better picture, or the picture that is more impactful to me, is when the disciples just go back to fishing after Jesus dies, and it's not like they're not like it's not like they're going back to do bad things or anything. They're just going back to what life was like before Jesus, and I feel like that's a lot of times what we end up doing is we go relationship with God, and then we just fall back into what life was like before.
Yeah.
Not in a malicious way, not in an evil way, just in a what's normal. And I think relationship with God is so not normal. And the invitation to be transformed, be new, the process of being a part of that is anything but normal.
I can like hear in the boat while they're fishing in John 21, like them going, do you remember when Jesus sent out the 12 of us? Do you remember when he sent out the 77 of us? Do you remember when he did this? Do you remember when he said we should love others? He loves us. Do you remember all that? And then, yeah, that was great. And then thinking like, I don't know, what are we going to do now? And I feel like that would be like Jesus on the shore going, like he could hear it. Like that's kind of could be a lake moment, hearing them telling their stories. Sometimes if you're on a Minnesota lake quiet in the morning, you can hear people talking on a boat, hear them on the dock. And I can just like, Jesus, there could be the supernatural, could be just they were talking loud on the boat, and Jesus going, how's the fishing going? Terrible! But that is, put the net on the other side. What a great moment that I roll in that, and I feel like exactly what you're saying is that instead of seeing things as so compartmentalized or so segmented or just time-tied, just go, no, be these things, just be these things.
And I also, this probably actually doesn't fit within this message necessarily, but like what I feel so motivated by in that story is that I have friends and family who once, I would say, probably had a great relationship with God who don't right now. And it's not always just like a rejection of God as much as it is just like, sometimes it's easier just to go back to fishing.
Sometimes.
And that doesn't mean that there's like, they're not the bad people. They're not the evil side. They're not the whatever. It's not us versus them. It's like the challenge is to still see, when people go back to fishing, see that they're still valued. And it's important.
Yeah, because again, my theology on, again, this salvation and righteousness says that all I have to do, there's no them. All I have to do is go, man, I do need to be rescued from this. And Jesus, as the rescuer, goes, cool, new. You're new. What am I supposed to do? Be new. And then the next moment going, ugh, I need to be rescued. Perfect. What do I need to do? Be new. Just be it. And so, as opposed to the picture of like looking at somebody who's picked their vernaculars, fallen away, all these things to go, but what are they going to do to come back? They need to do something to come back. But actually, yes, but the entryway to the point is God saying, Jesus is, you're new.
And there's humility in that request too. I got nothing. Help.
Yeah.
And like you were saying earlier, if you've got if the guy comes down, rappelling down the mountain, and you're like, oh, no, not gonna touch me. You've got to actually, reach out and say, okay, I want this, and so then it's not completely one-sided, because there has to be engagement from the person needing to be rescued.
Yep.
It's like advanced first aid. I said, sometimes you'll run into people who won't consent to being treated. They don't want your treatment. They said, when they go unconscious, that's implied consent.
Yeah, being a lifeguard, that when you are swimming out to rescue somebody, drowning will make you pretty mean. Maybe not so accepting of help or helpful to the person trying to help you. But to have that moment of humility of going, okay, I'm going to stop flailing. I'm actually going to, like, it's such a good parable. I'm going to stop, punching Jesus in the face and just go, okay, rescue me. That's a humbling moment, and not necessarily something that you can be talked into or demanded. Talk about the rebellion or whatever that's in us. Isaiah's done.
Rich isn't here.
Oh man.
And wrap up the final week. But
If you could write in the comments below your wrap up, that would be great.
we'll see you guys next week we're doing United service. Palm
Palm
Sunday.
Sunday.